In 1950, circus shows were held in Bucharest, in the center of the capital, the current location of the National Theatre, in a construction made of wood. In 1954, Emil Kratel was forced by the communist government to hand over the circus with all the animals to the Romanian state. The wooden construction was rather fragile, and many artists have lost their lives in those times. Work at the new circus site started in 1958, and the building was finished in 1961. The first performance took place in the current building in the autumn of the same year. All circus artists who had been working for private companies had to become employees of the state circus, which became the only establishment to host circus shows. All private circus companies had to close down. As the Communist Party had become the single party in Romania, the circus needed to be the sole one. The genuine and fair competition among the artists and private circus companies between the two world wars has ended. Circus artists were being selected for tours abroad or were cast in shows after criteria much different than those based on their talent. The state circus had become miniature Romania, but in spite of those circumstances, the artist standards remained high, and they were appreciated as such both in our country and abroad. State circus became Circul Globus. The varied and interesting shows attracted public by the thousands, year after year. There were ballet schools and music schools and schools to study fine arts in, for talented children, but the circus was the unique art which was birthed of a school all those years. But experienced artists kept on teaching their skills to their children in their families, but they also taught those who were coming from the sports arena. The circus was run by the famous magician Josefini until the anti-communist revolution of December 1989. During those times, only artists from the former communist countries could be invited to participate in the shows. Between 1990 and 1997, no less than 5 managers took turns in running the circus. They tried to keep up the previous standards, but the performances became increasingly poor in quality, and they failed to attract the public. It was the autumn of 1997 that the bid for manager of the Globus circus was won for the first time in the history of the Romanian circus by a woman. Brîndușa Novac, the new manager, was only 30 by then, but she came up with an ambitious management project proposing a radical transformation of both shows and the Romanian artists' training. Last but not least, she established a form of management which consolidated the team and developed its potential. Brîndușa Novac worked with the advantage of graduating from 2 very different faculties. One was sports, where she specialized in rhythmic gymnastics and choreography. The other one was film and TV directing. This combination led to a vision which helped Brîndușa Novac change the very perception of public by means of the new shows she staged at the Globus. The beginning wasn't easy. The first great change appreciated by the public was her idea to direct shows based on stories. The scripts that she wrote caught on both with the little ones, the kids, and their parents and grandparents. During those first years, Brîndușa Novac managed not only to put together a managerial team, but a creative team as well. She needed professionals to develop the artistic side of the performances who would be able to perform miracles, just as she did. Thus, Ama Butoiescu started to design costumes and to work on the show's choreography, as did Vlad Gabrielescu as a stage designer and Gabi Basaravescu as a composer. As she wanted to maintain traditional circus performances as well, the manager proposed the Circus Galas in 2000, which is a show where the jury is composed exclusively by members of the public. The ceremony award there is more than just the first, second and third prize for the best acrobatic and dressage acts. The extra is called the Sympathy Award, which is meant for the best comedy act. The general mayor of Bucharest is the one to be bestowing the mayor's prize upon one of the winners. The awards are distributed not only to competing artists. The manager proposed that the retired artists should be equally honored. They are invited, applauded, and they receive an award on the very stage where they have been risking their lives for dozens of years. People working behind the curtain who contribute to the creation of the circus show have not been forgotten. Technical staff, tailors, prop workers, locksmiths, but also artistic staff and members of the management team between 2001 and 2011 came on stage after they have proven that they deserve this distinction for their professionalism. During the first years, the awards were purely symbolic in nature, consisting in diplomas and trophies, but over the years they came to include financial rewards. It is the public who decides whether foreign or Romanian artists deserve an award at the circus galas, and it was also the public that pressured the Globus team to create increasingly attractive performances. Beside the circus galas, which are traditional circus shows, a grand show is enacted every year, which is based on a story. By introducing these shows, Brîndușa Novac aimed beyond variety. Her goal was to educate the public by means of fairy and witches shows, inspired both from Romanian tales and folklore of other people mythologies. In a Balloon Around the World is the story of a balloon that surrounds the world, traveling from Egypt to the African jungle, from Spain to the US, from Brazil and India to Russia, with Romania as its final destination. The characters from the script were embodied by two actors from the National Theatre of Bucharest and by the most renowned Romanian comedian. The Secrets of the Elves and the Elves' Counterattack were two special shows. Elves, gnomes and salamanders, together with the Secret Wizard and the Newscaster Elf, hid the secrets of the elves from the Crystal Constellation Commander and his officers. During these two sumptuous productions, Mushroom Duchess, Salamander Prince, the Countess of the Woods, the Princess of the Waters and the Animal King gave life to stories inspired from the mythology of northern countries. Since the shows based on stories went so well with the public, director and scriptwriter Brîndușa Novac thought of staging 3 of the plays written by Romania's best-known playwright Ion Luca Caragiale. The entire team was nervous about the task of putting together 3 famous plays of the 19th century, preserving the narrative in the process and interspersing it with moments of music and dance in a unique circus show. But they were up to the challenge. Parents and grandparents appreciated the performance highly, and the children were delighted to the max. Fairies are always wonderful in the children's world, and they ensnare you when they entice your imagination through songs, acrobatics, dressage, and dance. The fairies are the ones who guide the steps of the jolly pompons, who are the comedians of the show through the enchanted forest in order to attain the immortality of the soul. The only spectators who we have trouble with bringing to the show are the teenagers. It is easier with parents and grandparents who relate back to childhood when they are here, while the little ones are happy. Teenagers usually prefer another kind of shows. This is precisely why For You was created, a show targeting teenagers in particular. 2 live bands were invited, a rock band called Animal X and the ethno band K1, besides the dancers from Zbangi. This type of show was so successful that the entire audience cheered, irrespective of age, not only the teenagers, who were the show's target. The shows became increasingly complex, sumptuous and demanding from a director's point of view. The scripts that were written were a challenge for the entire team. The Destiny of the Dacians is an ambitious show. Its narrative takes place on several levels. Given the fact that the show tells the story of how the Romanian people came into being once the Romans landed on Dacian territory, inspired the director to elaborate a filmic performance. The circus acts do not respect the usual length. They are conceived in a particular way in order to intensify the action and to tell the story of the Romanian people at a particular pace. Vocal and instrumental live music, the presence of actors, dancers, the circus and the cinematic moments all contribute to telling the story live in one unique grand educational show. The repertoire of Circ Variete Globus was not only enriched by story-based circus shows, but also by variety shows meant for adults. This is how Little Paris was born, starting Saturday at 10 p.m. The cabaret atmosphere, consisting in intimate chairs and candles with wine and champagne going with it, enhances the show. The script tells the story of a singer who falls in love with a beautiful gypsy between the 2 world wars. Romanians are very fond of those times, when Bucharest was nicknamed Little Paris. It reminded of Paris due to the beautiful architecture, the well-dressed and well-bred Romanians, and a nice way of living, common to France, England and Germany. A classy performance, songs from the old times, music, dance and speeches of the most appreciated comedian of those times prompted the public to react by rounds of applause. Events organized to launch cosmetics products, cars, TV channels have been directed over the years by Brîndușa Novac. She also motivated her entire team of artists, singers and dancers, as well as the technical staff, to make the best out of New Year's Eve celebration, TV shows and international music festivals that had been handled by Circ Variete Globus. New Year's Eve shows that were performed on the arena of the Globus Circus extended over 8 hours of live transmission, while the public danced and had fun in the company of various artistic performances, thus spending an elegant and grand New Year's Eve night. The creative and management team at the Globus dared to stage shows that haven't been done before, and together they managed to create shows that were both enchanting and outstanding conditions for the members of the public.
Să știu cum să fiu o încântare, cum trebuie să fac, ce să îmbrac, să fiu cool și tare. Spuneți-mi voi secrete noi, chiar crezi că-mi pasă, iubesc din nou, zâmbesc din nou, e ce contează. Știu, am sâmbure de drag, spun tot ce-mi dă prin cap, iar când ai vrea să tac, yeah. Știu, am sâmbure de drag, petrec, iubesc și spat, sunt dulceață de băiat, yeah. Când mă desfac, stând în cap, lumea s-o văd dreaptă, dragostei frag, ce-l îmbrac când merg la parată. Cu tine-s gata pentru tot, încă o fac saltul, doar mâna ta îmi spune stop, e ce contează. Știu, am sâmbure de drag, spun tot ce-mi dă prin cap, iar când ai vrea să tac, yeah. Știu, am sâmbure de drag, petrec, iubesc și spat, sunt dulceață de băiat, yeah. Stop, take your time and realize you're not alone. Cry no more. Stop, take your time. Don't mind the lies. Ready to go, but not to let go, not to let go, not to let go, not to let go. Știu, am sâmbure de drag, spun tot ce-mi dă prin cap, iar când ai vrea să tac, yeah. Știu, am sâmbure de drag, petrec, iubesc și spat, sunt dulceață de băiat, yeah.
44 circus shows, more than 20 TV and variety shows, marathon New Year's Eve shows. This is what the director and manager has to show for the 14 years of activity on the celebration of 50 years since Circ Variete Globus has been created. Over all these years, the rigorous selection of professionals, which attracted only the best in the field, has paid off and allowed the creative team to score success after success. The decor is the public's first step into a wonderland. This allows them to identify with the story of the show or broadcast, to get submerged into a cabaret atmosphere or the grandeur of circus galas. It is the first instrument in the hands of the director. Vlad Gabrielescu established high scenographic standards for most shows or TV broadcasts, but Octavian Nicolae did some outstanding work himself. The costumes for acrobats, animal trainers and dancers, actors or singers need to be tailored in accordance with rules written or unwritten, which make the task of the designer such a difficult one. It was made even harder when we had to work with scripts that put the designer in the position to create costumes that had to be in accordance with the historical time and place of the story. Ama Butoiescu managed to enhance the value of Globus shows because she is not only talented and well documented, but she also knows a lot about how acrobats and ballet dancers need to move in a costume. Ama Butoiescu, Alice Vișan and Brîndușa Novac have invested their ideas into the choreography of the shows over all these years. Masks, elements of decor, props and accessories we owe to Gabriela Turtura and Noni Molete. Any self-respecting production company employs original music. This was composed especially for Circ Variete Globus shows and broadcast by Gabi Basarabescu, Tica Alexe, Dani Alexandrescu, George Natsis, Radu Fornea, K1 and Animal X. Her deep respect for the Monte Carlo Circus Festival has determined Brîndușa Novac to initiate the International Circus Art Festival in Bucharest. She did so but established rules that differ from any other festival worldwide. The FIAC that had its first edition in 2008 is not a competition between individual circus acts, but between circus shows and the entire production thereof. Each circus brings its own show to the Bucharest FIAC, each with its own chapiteau participating in 24 shows over 12 days. And since we are talking about the competition of 3 or 5 circus productions, there are 3 juries for this festival. One comprises specialists, another is composed of artists that do not belong to the world of circus, and finally, the jury of kids. The 3 juries are led by a single president. The FIAC covers not only transportation and accommodation for the participants, but also staging costs, and it offers awards. These consist of trophies, but money is also involved. This is a way of rewarding the grandeur of those shows and artistic creation that prove deserving of golden, silver and bronze lion. In order for the circus to be recognized as an art in its true sense, the FIAC emphasizes rewards and awards for those who are most creatively involved in the shows. Thus, the award for Best Scriptwriter, Director, Choreographer, Stage and Costume Designer and Composer goes to the most talented creative artist of all competing circus companies. The FIAC takes place between May the 29th and June the 9th, 2012. Do come to Bucharest, to the International Festival of Circus Art, in order to compete if you have high-standard performances and talented creative staff who have the courage to compete. Don't forget, it is the whole production that enters the competition. Do also come as spectators to applaud and show your consideration to those who are about to receive awards for a kind of labor which is rarely appreciated in the world of circus. Come to Bucharest to enjoy the other production, Circ Variete Globus, for you don't know what you are missing.